Yeah, hello all. Good morning and good evening. So, uh, one second, I'm just creating a project. It takes time. Okay. Meanwhile, we discuss the concept. Okay. Today, the concept is Angular with HTTP. So, what is this is? Yesterday, we discussed the concept called Angular services. Okay. These services are responsible to provide. It's like a data provider, and it is responsible for the actual business logic, and is also responsible to get data from the server. In the last class we already discussed how to provide data to the components, because components are just a controllers uh, to display a data on the page. Okay, just a controller to the portion of the UI, but those are not actually contains the data. The data has to come from a service, and but still in service we hard code that yesterday some um, like a biggest array, like employees array, we hard code in the services. But thing is, again in real time this data has to come from a server. Okay, so you must not hard code data in a services, it has to get data from the server. So if you want to connect to the server and get data from the server, we need one module extra, that is called http clients module. Using this http clients module, we are going to get data from the server. So I think I have already notes, so I just show you with the notes. um, Workspace UI development notes. Oh, not here. Okay, see here. This is your browser and server and database. So in the browser, we have two components. One is employee list component, employee details components. So for these components, employee service is responsible to provide a data for both. Okay. So now we'll learn the next concept where the service is going to connect to the server and get the data from event database. So how this happens is, this employee service is going to send a request. Let's like you want to get data. See, as of now, we fetch. I mean, we need a collection of employees, right? So if you want to get the employees, it has to send a request. It can be a get request, post request. It can be put to delete, anything. So to fetch some data, it needs to be get request. So employee service is going to send a get request through this HTTP clients module to the server. Okay. So as soon as you send the request, server is going to respond you back. So server will send you the response, and that response is going to be in the form of observable. In HTTP, what exactly observable is? It is a sequence of data, because as soon as you requested, the whole data is cannot send you in a single shot. Okay, it's like asynchronously, part by part, like it's a sequence way it is going to send you the data. So that is represent with observable. And also this observable is like a raw data, and this raw data you have to typecast back in which I mean which data type you wanted, you have to cast it. So here some concept is there for observable. So what is observable concept is, let's understand. Um there is one newspaper company. Okay, you could take any newspaper company. So newspaper company is responsible to generate some news, right? Like they can write some article, they can print it, and they can distribute it. Okay, so the newspaper company, how they will get data, how they will get the news. So how they will get the news is, newspaper company having different resources outside. So those people are actually responsible to send them the raw data. So they will send the raw data to the newspaper company. So this newspaper company will add some extra information and extra other, I mean, research information and all. They'll add it, and finally they prepare a newspaper. They'll print it and they'll distribute. And to whom they'll distribute? They can't distribute for every house. Let's take these are all houses. So they can't distribute immediately for all the houses. They can only distribute to the people who are all already registered or subscribed with the newspaper company, because there are different houses they are going to subscribe for the newspaper company. Okay, so whoever subscribe for that, so who are paying a monthly bills for um, this newspaper, who are actually required the newspaper, so for them it is going to send the news to them. So as soon as the news is sent to them, I mean newspaper is sent to them, those houses, so they can their wish how they are using the news and all, right? Same story is also works for HTTP. Thing is, from employee service, uh, and you can take the backend is server and database. So this employee service is going to send a GET request to fetch the data from the server or database. Okay, so this server is going to give you the response in the form of observable. So this observable is a sequence of items that arrives asynchronously over the time. It's a sequence of items. Okay, and once you receive the observables, this is going to process the data, and whoever subscribe, because I want the employee list, employee details, these should dependent on employee service, and also it has to subscribe to this. Then only this data is provided for the employee list and employee details and any of the components. Okay, so see, in Angular, observable means a HTTP response which arises from the uh, server to our application asynchronous. It's just keep coming a data this asynchronously that we have to convert or typecast to the required format. Okay. Uh, so we are making calls using HTTP clients module. So it means we have to load the HTTP clients module, and then from that we can fetch the data from the server. So as of now, let me open this Angular HTTP. See, in the last class we discussed about uh, Angular services, but in Angular services we have app components. In that we have two components: employee list, employee details. But when I open a services, see here in the services I have see, I have hardcode this data in my local service. And that's what I have written here. So here is the place you must not write the hard code data. You need to keep this code in Google somewhere in the server, and from there you have to fetch using HTTP module. So how this possible is, I'll do one thing. Um, I will just replicate the same code in my Angular HTTP, because I just created Angular HTTP with the, see here, I just created it using ng new command. Okay, ng new Angular HTTP is created, but bootstrap and all not configured. I'll do it. So I want to replicate the same structure in Angular HTTP also, but here through HTTP we are going to get the data in this module. Okay, So to replicate this and here, what is my plan is I will copy the src folder as it is. Copy the src folder. In that, I will replace. I delete the existing src folder and I'll paste the src folder which we have created for yesterday, Angular services. Okay, that's the first step. And after that, I need a bootstrap also. So let me grab a bootstrap copy and I replace bootstrap here. Okay. So one last thing is you have to configure bootstrap in angular.json. Let me open angular.json of the previous file. So copy the styles and scripts and go here angular.json. I have to replace the styles and scripts. Okay, save. Fine. So now setup ready. So I tell you what I made it. From the previous Angular services, I replaced Bootstrap because it was not there. I created a new one. So I paste Bootstrap folder and src I replace Angular.json also change. Okay. And now let's start this server and then we'll understand what is going to happen. So for our convenience, I don't want to load all the projects because my system has become very slow. I load only Angular HTTP now. Okay, that's better actually. I go to workspace, Angular 9, Angular HTTP. I only load this project, not all the projects. So I just say file, open, paste, not coming. Yeah, it's loading. I think I have to disable the TS lint. 1 minute. Yeah. So editor, come on. Let me close the command line. Editor, inspections, TypeScript, TS-lint. So make sure you uncheck because it asks for unnecessary rules of creating a project and all this, and then disable that. Okay, so I have a project now. Let me let me go to terminal and let's say ng serve. This again takes much time. I'll just pause the video for 2 minutes because once it is ready, I'll be back. Okay, because why unnecessarily to record the video of huge length. I'll just stop it and then I'll just pause it. Once it is ready, I'll be back. Okay. So now started. So let me open this in the browser. 127.4200, enter. Okay. So let's see. This is just a code only. Like number of employees 29 and employee list, and we also have this one employee details card. Okay. So now let's observe the code once again. SRC app. Here you have components, employee details components, and employee list components. Okay, and we have services. So the data is coming from the hardcode data of the service, and we made lastly a function. One second. Yep, we made lastly a function. So this is going to, I mean, this is the method because the class base. This is going to give you the data. So now my plan is I want to take out this code and host it in the Google online. And from there I have to fetch using HTTP module. First, let me host this in the Google. So let me just copy this entire data. Come on. Okay. So this entire data I'll copy. I'll just cut this better. So where I host this, there is a website called myjson.com. So I'll host it over there. So let me go to Google. In this, there is a website called myjson. It's a free and hosting service for JSON. Let me open that. Yeah. In this, I will paste my JSON. Yes, I have pasted and let me click on save. So when I click on save, I got a URI to access this data. Let me copy the URL and go enter that URL in the browser. Yes. So this is what our data. Okay. So this data we have to fetch using HTTP clients module. Okay. So now how to use the HTTP clients module over here is the very first step. I tell you steps. The very first step is you have to import HTTP clients module in the app module. So using this HTTP clients module only, we will retrieve or any backend operations can be done with this module. So this module has to be imported in a main app module in the root module. Okay, so I'll do that. So go to app module.ts in this. So let me load imports here. Let's make HTTP clients. HTTP client module. It is from Angular Common HTTP, and this HTTP you have to import along with the forms module. Just paste it. Okay, so this is the first step. You have to just load a HTTP clients module, and second, in the service, use that HTTP module to get the data. Okay, same concept of dependency injection what we have discussed yesterday for other module. See, in the last class we discussed is the employee list. So employee list has to fetch the list of employees. To fetch the list of employees, this employee list component is dependent on the service. So see, that's why we made it as a dependency configuration here, because in the constructor we declared as yes, this particular component is dependent on the service, so that using service it is going to fetch the data. Same like that. Now service. So service internally its own, it doesn't have data its own. It is now dependent on the HTTP module to get the data. So it means you have to declare that here. Okay, I write private underscore HTTP client of type. It is a difference. It is HTTP client. Okay, so now My employee service is dependent on HTTP clients. So using this HTTP client only, you can do the get request, post request, and all those. And one more information. See, employees is empty, and get employee function also give you the empty array. If it is providing empty array, then employee list is going to get the employee empty array only, and employee details also get the empty. If it is getting empty, then on my screen, see, no data, all employee records to be zero because there's no data. We just cleared out everything, right? Okay, so let me fetch data. So how to fetch data here is, see, you can write here, uh, um, so here http dot get request.
And I was like, and now he's like,
Can you mute once? Yeah. So here, uh, this dot underscore HTTP clients dot get. Mm, uh, actually, one minute. You must not write anything in the constructor. You have to write in here. Cut this. Let's keep it here. Okay. Public get employees, right? Yeah. Here, what I do is this dot underscore HTTP client dot. So I'm going to get, see, these many options are there: get, delete, JSON options, post, put, these many. So I'm going to just fetch the data. So get request. So in the get request, you have to provide the URL. So what is the URL you're going to fetch the data? So my URL as of now is this one. So let me copy this URL. So I will make,
I looked up one.
please mute yourself, everyone. Okay. So I'll just create a URL. Let's take a public. You can say watch data URL. Data URL is equal to. So I'm going to get this URL here, and this data URL I'm going to use in this. Okay, fine. HTTP client dot get. Okay, here you just say return this thing. So it is going to be return type. Return type is going to be the observable. Let's say observable of this any type. Okay, and HTTP client dot get. It's not get dot. This is this dot data URL because it's the local property of a class. So get this dot data URL. Okay, let's keep it as it is. So what are you doing is, whenever you calling get employees function, a method, it is going to get the data from this particular URL using HTTP client, but it give you written type is observable, and that's how you get data in a form of observable. Next, so how this employee list component is going to get data is, if this is going to subscribe to this uh, method, is going to get the data. So how to fetch data of here to here is, see, ng on nh. So we made this dot employees is equal to this dot employee service dot get employees. It's not like this. Let me delete. So it's going to be, um, we have a service, right? So this dot underscore employee service dot um, dot get all employees is a function dot subscribe. Okay, in this subscribe you have one callback function. So this will give you the actual data, and this data we are going to send back to the employees array. So I write here, let's say this dot employees, this dot employees is equal to data, like this. So now the employees array is having a data. So just check, are we get data or not. So back to our application. Yes. So we got the data. Okay, and this data is coming from the server. But why this total length is 0? Um, this dot employee dot length. Acha, it was here, na? So let's do one thing. Let me cut this. I'll keep it inside of it. So now I think it will get data. Yes, we got 29 records from the data. I mean, from the server. This is one way, and I need to get this from this details also. Employee details. Is showing some error. Filter function. Where is that filter? Okay, search means get employees. Okay. This we have to change the filter. I mean, whenever you are searching for something, so it was just employee service dot get employees. It's not just get employees. It is to be subscribe and all. So let me modify this logic in proper way. So this dot underscore employee service dot get all employees dot is a function called subscribe, and inside you will be having a data. So this data is going to attach to this dot employees is equal to data, and from that you have to loop it. So what you do is this data has come, and you can return employee dot name dot first. 1 minute. Get employees dot subscribe. You get data, and this data dot filter you can do, or else employees dot this you can do. Okay, so this dot employees dot filter, and here let's make a function. So in the filter I'll just get each employee, and that each employee I'm gonna get on this thing, copy. Okay, so here what I do is, um, can we do directly data dot filter, and let me write this employees is equal to like that. Why assign here? Fine. Okay, I just slightly modified this. I don't need this part now. Okay, and also counter. I'll just cut this. I'll keep it inside here. Okay, because we have modified it with the service. So employee service dot get employees dot subscribe. So once you have subscribed, you get data, and from that data, I'm filtering each employee, and from there, this concept is common. Like the first name, the employee dot first name dot to uppercase that match with the search query what you have done from uh, the search box. Okay, if this condition match, the conditioned data only assigned to the employees, and those employees length only add to the count. I think it has to work. Let's see. So if I search A D, yes, it's working. Delete, delete. Just 29 A D 1 minus. Yes, search also working, and this fine. And the next concept is this one, employee details also I need to fetch the same way. So back to employee details dot ts. Okay, so here it is wrong actually. So we have to read with again the service. So this dot underscore employee service dot uh, get all employees dot subscribe. Yeah, here you're gonna get a function. So this function, oh, you can make add a function directly. Okay. So you will get data, and this data we are gonna assign to the this dot employees. So this dot employees is equal to data. Okay, that's it. So let's check. It is loaded. See, now I got that data also here. So now it's clear. We are not maintaining any data in the components, and we are not maintaining any data in the service also. And this data is going to come from the server. Okay, and this is one thing, and some extra things also there. Sir, what if the let's do the exception handling, because and error handling, because if there is no data, or if the server URL is wrong, so how can you clarify that something went wrong here? Okay, so that you have to configure. So how you do that is extra employee.get of this dot to, there's a function called pipe. In this there is an option called retry of one. So what is this retry of one is, when you are fetching a data from the backend, uh, if suppose the data is not fetched for the first time, then try how many times? Let's make two. So it just do a one more time try. Okay, so like two times trial is going to do. If still no data has come, so it returns nothing. Okay, but in this way, I have to catch hold of what went wrong. Okay, so how to handle the exceptions with this server? Because suppose when I go back to here, see, when I enter a proper URL, I will get data. Suppose I missed this 8, I made something 10, I enter. So see, I get the 404 message not found. Okay, so the requested URL data is not found. So if you make it back to H, it fetch. So I have to do that way in my here, because I want to display that message on my HTML if something went wrong. Okay, so how is possible is, you have to create one handler function. Let me create. So public, um, let's say handler error handler. Okay, so this will take a parameter of type of error, and this is of type HTTP error. HTTP, sorry, it's not like this. HTTP error response. Okay, so this is of type HTTP error response, and how to call it is from here only, comma. You can call another function called catch error, and here you have to pass this dots error handler. Okay, so here only logic. See, HTTP client dot gets this URL and try at least two times. If still not gets, catch the error and this dot error handler. So it means we are just transferring the data to the error handler. So whenever you configure this, this is going to give you that error whichever arises at the uh, while doing the process. So that is going to give you, and that is of type HTTP error response. So here we have to handle uh, the error. So I'll take like let error message is equal just empty. So this error can be two things. It can be a client side error or it can be a server side error. So I will write a logic like if the error dodge error instance of error event. If it is of type error event, so I can conclude that it's a client side error. Okay, and how to catch the error messages? So let's sorry no let's error message is equal to, you can write a backtick, uh, let's say error. I just display the message, so just say error dot message. Okay, so if it is a instance of error events, then you're gonna get data like error dot message, you get the message. Else else is going to be the server side error. So for server side error, how to handle, let's use error message is equal to, I could use the status code or something. Okay, let's say the error. So what type of error is, let's make here error dot status, and also along with I need to display the message. So message is going to be the error dot message. So for client side, it is error dot message because it is a instance of error event. If not, directly error dot status and error dot message. Because when you enter some wrong URL here, suppose I'll make 10, you got this. This is the status and this is the message. Okay, so that I have catch from the server. Okay, so status I got, message I got. And finally, you have to return uh, throw error of error message. Okay, this is what the code, the source code for error handling. See, now happy because whenever you're doing this, it's gonna handle, I mean it's gonna send the error back to this function, and this is going to do the I mean differentiation either client side or server side, and just throw it. Okay, so how to catch, because this error handling is there at my service, so how can I catch, I mean how can I get this error message to my controller, because my component we have to display, right? So how to get this error message in the component is, let me do in my list components. See, in the list components I will create one more uh, one variable like a error message is equal to, or let's declare it error message. Okay, and let's, it's of type normal string only. Okay, so error message I have to handle. How to handle is, see here, how are you getting data? See, dot subscribe, get employees dot subscribe, you have a, I mean this thing like data, you read data, and along with that extra one parameter is there, comma, one more callback function. So this is going to give you the error. So what is error you have thrown from here, so that is going to catch uh, from here, this through this message. So I'm gonna get the error. So data you're gonna get successfully here, error you're gonna get here. So this error I'm going to attach to my error message. So I say this dot error message is equal to error message, sorry, error message is equal to error. Okay, this is how you handle it. And then I want to display that error message on my client. So when you display error message, if some data URL is wrong, then display, right? So I'll do one thing, I'll just configure this error message on my components. So employee list component.html, yeah. So here card header table, everything is okay, but here in the table, table header, okay, in the table body, see in the table body we have a data. Suppose if data is not there, what you do is better, shall we do one thing, before you display table only, I will write like this. Let me write dot, error message, let me write a division. Okay, in h3 here I write star ng if, okay, if any error message is there, just display the error message. Okay, and you can even write and give the class called text danger. It will display the error message in red color. So if any error message is there internally of this thing, because I declared as empty, I have not assigned any value. So if any error message is there, it's going to assign some value, and that value I'm reading. If any error message is there, then display that. Okay, let me test this out. So now successful because we made a correct URL only. Let me change the URL to yeah, it was 8. I'll change this URL to 10. Okay, because it is a wrong response, wrong URL. If I save it now, let's check. See, you got the error message. So error 404 messages HTTP failure response my JSON. So this particular URL was not found. Okay, because it was 8, but we made it as 10. So this is 404 not found. This data is not there. Okay, but here see, for employee details error is not coming because we are not handle that error. So if you want to handle the error for even employee details also, um, so same thing you have to do. I show you one more time. So here you have to create a public error message of type normal string is equal to just declaration, and how to cache data is same along with this uh, callback function. You have another comma, so it is like error, and this error I'm going to display for this dot error message is equal to error. Okay, and this error message I want to display for my employee details component also. So go to the employee details component HTML. So where you display employee details, okay, and I'm going to display all the cards and all. Anyway, cards and all not display, so better I create another row, that one column. So inside I'll display some h3. Okay, so I write here star ng if error message. If any error message, then display the error message. And I also give the class text danger, so red color. So let's say both are getting data from the same URL. Where is that? Yeah, both are getting data from the same URL, so it is wrong. So both are has to get the message. See, here also we get error message, and here also we get the error message. Okay, and then what do you do? So let's convert this back to original URL. Let's make this 8. So when I change to 8, anyway, application will refresh back and it trying to detect the actual URL, and that time you will get data. Yes, I got data here, and I also got data here. Okay, so fine. This is the concept of what do you call getting data from the HTTP URL, and one more thing is there while fetching data. See, this data URL is just like direct URL, which doesn't have any authorization or authentication, right? So when you enter whoever enter the URL, they're going to fetch data. But in real time, what happens is for every URL which you are fetching, so for that, you have to provide some key, the token, this called authorization token. So how to send the authorization token, because here it doesn't have any authorization token. So how to provide authorization token is along with the URL, you have to provide some HTTP headers, and inside you have to configure the authorization token and send it. Okay, and also it is just a get request. In future, we'll see post request, put, delete, and all, because in Node.js and Express.js we have made an employee portal application, right? Only backend we have that. So that's where we create employees, we update employees, delete employees, and all those. So we are going to do from this URL. I mean, from that's a Node.js server side URL, but there you're gonna see get to post, put, and delete, and how to configure the authorization. Even our Node.js doesn't have authorization as of now. So you want to put authorization. I have an example of one Spotify music search app. So there we can provide the authorization. Okay, so when we discuss that Spotify music app with this Angular, by next 2 days we'll do that. So there I'll show you how to configure the authorization headers and all. Okay, so before we move on to the authorization, I mean URLs, we should also know the routing. So how the routing is going to happen for this page, because as of now what we discuss, all the components are there in a same page, right? So my plan is I don't want to display everything on a same page. I want to display in a different pages, like because every application means it contains a multiple pages, right? So let me create a new Angular app where I can provide the routing. Okay, first let me create the application, and then we'll discuss how the routing is going to be provided. So let me stop this. What is this? ng module import app module but could not resolve ng module class. Ng module template URL HTML. I think it's an old one. No. Employee name placeholder. Any problem? One minute. Let me go to console. Okay, there's no error. I think while we are doing the changes in what do you call the URL changes, maybe that error has raised. Let me stop it. Okay, now create a new Angular app for the routing. Okay, so what I do is, hmm, okay, I'll just go to here. I create a new Angular app. So should space dot dot. So now just say ng new Angular minus routing. So hit enter. What happened? Invalid configuration file. Please delete the file before you run in the command. What went wrong? One nudge. Invalid configuration file was found angular.json. Please delete the file before running the command. Invalid configuration. What configuration? There is no error here, right? We configured only styles. Uh, Something went wrong. Okay, let me hit again. ng new angular minus routing. Same error. Okay, some problem is there in our application seems. So okay, let me go back to that same angular minus http. Yeah, let's say end this. So let's see what went wrong. Yeah, it is successful. Okay, let me go to the 127. So 4200 enter. Yes. So I got records. That's perfect. No error here. Then why it says like that? Mm, okay, now stop. Space dot dot and ng new angular minus routing. Build configuration file. Okay, give me 2 minutes. Project, okay, and browser Angular HTTP is correct. Okay, index polyfills, everything is correct. Environment. Okay, I don't know what is the issue. Okay, we'll create it somewhere outside. I just created somewhere here. Or let me do from the command line. Okay, ng new Angular minus routing. Yes. Yeah, it again takes much time. I'll just pause the video. Once it is done, I'll just come back. Okay, shall I do one thing because it's taking much time? Better we'll continue this concept in the next class. Okay. So meanwhile, just practice about this Angular HTTP, and then Angular routing I mean, complete Angular routing we'll discuss in tomorrow's class. Okay, because unnecessarily it will take a lot of time. So I'll just create this project ready at least so that we can continue from there. Okay. So that's it. Any questions?
We are good, sir. Yeah.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah, good. We understand. I understand, sir. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. We'll meet in tomorrow's class. Thank you.